Oh, before we get started, we are starting to do something new starting this show. If you want to call in, and we have a phone number, and you can be part of the show, it will be at 857-216-3200, and you have to use PIN number 35368. And then you can get your thoughts in on the show as well, and we will hear your voice, and you can talk to us live. So if you want to join the show, call the number, and we'll bring you in and get your thoughts on what we're talking about. With that said, that really sucked. And speaking of sucking, a physicist says she says that she has proof that black holes do not exist.
And black holes don't suck?
And they don't suck. Apparently they don't suck, but my intro certainly sucked. Now, the thing is with black holes, everybody's got their own theory about black holes because we've never been to one. We don't know what they're like.
Everyone's got their own theory about them?
Apparently. Apparently. You don't want to know what...
There's absolutely no consensus in the scientific community. Everybody's just like, well, I think black holes are gumball machines.
I think a
black hole is a Yugo.
Have you ever ridden in a Yugo? I mean, really? No.
Yes. A friend of mine bought the Yugo from that movie, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. He actually has the car from the movie, and he drives it around town.
Okay, so that really must suck. Anyway, the paper was greeted with skepticism by other physicists, and the person who's making the claim is Marcini Houston herself admitted the finding is kind of hard to swallow. So the explanation she came up with, she found is kind of hard to swallow. The paper suggests that the possible resolution of the so-called black hole information loss paradox, which is Einstein's theory of relativity, predicts that black holes should form, but quantum theory says no information can ever permanently disappear from the universe. Another part on here, it says, according to Marcini Houston, the collapsing star sheds its mass and it shrinks, so no black hole is ever formed. Instead, as she and her collaborators of the University of Toronto computation relativity experts, Dr. Harold Pfeiffer, wrote in the paper, the star stops collapsing at a finite radius, and then the core explodes. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, you know what she could do with her results? She can publish them in a peer-reviewed journal and then collect her Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
Nah. I don't know. She's using mathematics to try and prove that black holes couldn't exist, and the way I see that is it's kind of like using logic to prove it. Like you can use logic to prove anything is or isn't logical so long as the prepositions are true,
right?
And that's where evidence comes in. So she's trying to use math to show that black holes don't exist, and the mathematics might play out to the end like, oh, okay, blah 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 blah, they don't exist. However, that contradicts the observational evidence. We have observational evidence that black holes do exist.
Right.
Yep.
One of them is that when matter enters black holes, it heats up and it glows in the X-ray band, and we can see this with X-ray telescopes. Another one is sometimes black holes emit powerful jets of matter, and they shoot out from them at the speed of light, and we can see that. Another one is fast-moving stars. Sometimes stars get sucked into the gravity well of a black hole, and they just move super, super fast. It's whoop, 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 whoop. And, what the heck is doing that then? I mean, it all matches up. The observation, which is science, the evidence matches up that there is something there that matches the prediction from Einstein that there are black holes.
Right. Yeah, that's what we're calling it.
So she's using math to disprove observation, but the observation still is there. So she needs to get around that problem.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's the big brouhaha in that is that the scientific community is going, basically what you said is that we have a lot of all this other evidence and trying to just use just a math formula to prove something is not real. I think our universe is a little stranger than sometimes math can even provide in that. Connie, your thoughts?
Strange attractants? Oh, yeah.
No, that was my last marriage.
I don't know what I just said. I mean, I just know it's a term. Anyway, don't hate me. Yeah, the paper was submitted to a non-peer-reviewed online research paper repository, and I'm like, why would somebody do that? If you put the time and energy into this, why would you put it there? That's very questionable.
Yeah.
And yeah, we might not be able to. I don't know. There's this story went way over my head. I'm so glad Joe is here because I can sit here and I can nod at everything he's saying, and this is a subject that I can almost kind of grasp. It's like you can almost taste it. Mm-hmm. And then when you start to think about it, I'm Doug the dog up. I'm like, squirrel, So, but yeah, and I found another website that had a paper, a guy who has actually met the woman, Dr. Laura Orsini Houghton, and said, she's really a wonderful person, but I was hoping that this wasn't going to come to light because honestly, I don't really want to have to refute this. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Stephen Hawking and the like are sitting fine right now. I don't think that this paper is going to explode, that, they don't exist because, like Joe said, we can see that there's something that matter collapsed on itself. Is that maybe too much of a summation? That something collapsed on itself and it's actually a negative area that's pulling it in, like the drain in my sink or something.
Right.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We had a comment from Twitter says black holes get packed with so many things and then they have a stellar orgasm. I think that was Torvian. Oh man. I think that was Torvian from Twitter there. Boom! Ah. That's an orgasm that lasts forever.
It's the universe knowing itself.
Yeah, the universe came to know itself.
Yeah. I mean, for black holes not to exist, there would need to be a lot of revision to the current model of what we observe and what we see.
Yep.
It's just, I mean, she's saying that they couldn't possibly exist because of math, but I mean, there's so much that we don't know about them also.
Oh yes.
Right.
They are kind of mysterious. I was busting on you before for saying there was no consensus, but there's so much about them that is still unknown. Mm-hmm. So to say well, they just don't exist. Oh, okay.
That is until we can get a satellite out there would be able to withstand those kind of gravity forces. And
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either. But I mean,
you cannot beat the laws of physics, Jim.
Did anybody ever watch that old Disney movie, The Black Hole?
Yes.
Basically, that they did that.
I love that movie, even though it was so scientifically inaccurate.
Yes.
I'm sure it probably was.
They've got to hover right at the edge of the horizon, or the event horizon. Thank you. And they just gotta sit there and go, yeah, we got the special drive that's doing that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that movie was Walt Disney Studios when they were hurting back when Disney Studios wasn't making too much good stuff. That was Walt Disney Studios' response to Star Wars. They were like, "We need a space movie! Quick, get us a space movie! Earth's Portnine's available! All right!"
There was actually a comic book that went along with that. I never had the second issue, unfortunately, but I had the first one, and it's like
the second one got sucked into the black hole.
But apparently it did too. Yeah, it's like we're gonna get back to this thing. We come right back, and it's like, oh.
I mean, that movie is so weird. It's kind of like The Shining meets Star Wars.
It was.
That's the best
it
was.
Yeah,
it was. It was a little creepy.
I am Jack's happy spaceship. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm quoting the wrong movie. All work and no play makes Jack's spaceship kind of. No, I'm still
something. I'm thinking.
No, but I mean, I kind of like that movie because I watched it when I was a kid and it was kind of creepy. But it's not the greatest of movies.
Yeah, definitely.
It's 1,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea out in outer space is what it was. That right. was
except 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was actually a good movie.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a fantastic movie, actually. That was Walt Disney's first live-action movie, and it was so good.
Oh my gosh, I was so scared of squids.
It's a classic.
Yes.
After that, I had an irrational fear of squids, giant squids attacking. As a kid, yeah.
Out on the West Coast, there, right in the middle of the landlocked area, you always got to worry about squid attack.
Well, it could happen.
It could happen. I could open a refrigerator, squid attack. Like in The Simpsons or something.
Yep. That's proof.
I had an irrational fear of Kirk Douglas's chin. I'm like a little kid watching this movie. Like, this is great, but what the hell's wrong with his face?
Right.